All right, good morning. Here we are, finally. Sorry for the delay this morning. There was a technical issue. Well, yeah, not a technical issue. I thought it was a technical issue. I started the stream and I put on my headphones and they didn't work. And so I started troubleshooting to see what was going on. And it turns out while we were out yesterday evening, I left the door to my little office build area here open, and apparently one of our cats walked in and decided to chew through my headphone wire, and so my wired headphones were not working when I put them on my head because the cable was chewed through by a cat. That cat will get in trouble later, but for now I managed to scrounge around and find another replacement headphone cable, so now I can hear what I'm doing, and we're back. We're building the Astraea Type F. The mobile suit itself is done. Color's weird today. It's very saturated here in my main camera. The actual color is more similar to what you see up there in that smaller camera. I'll have to play with the color adjustment later on. I'm not going to do that right now live on stream. Instead, I will drop this over here somewhere so that maybe, no, if I leave it there, you won't see it. So you can look at his legs, like so, and while we work on the rest of the weapons loadout. So as we talked about yesterday in the stream, a lot of weapons. We've built 2 of them so far. This is the Proto GN launcher. It reminds me a lot of the Virtue GN launcher weapon, the big one that it has. It has this same sort of opening front gimmick. Yeah, big chunky weapon. So that one's done, and then we've just got the regular beam rifle. Simple enough. And today we have, I don't know, maybe 8 more weapons to build. They're all, looking at the instructions, fairly simple, but there are a lot of them. So we'll see how far we can get with those. And I have my toothpick today, so if we get in trouble, we can always use the toothpick to get ourselves out of trouble. All right, so next up is the bazooka, right? Yeah, and so that's what we'll start with today. And the main body of that bazooka is these 2 big parts right here. You know what? Even with this up here out of my way, I thought it was out of my way. It's still... Oh, and that reminds me, we should talk about this again. Every time I pick this up and set it down, well, that time it didn't do it, but it wants to lean forward because these ankles are too loose. So every single time now it's wanting to lean back. Every single time I move this thing around, I have to readjust the positioning of the feet to get them solid on the ground and to make sure it's not going to lean, which is kind of annoying, but par for the course with one of these older kits. So with him moved out of the way, we can begin. I should mention, one thing I'm excited, I'm not excited that my cat chewed through the wire of my headphones, but the reason we were gone, and I should not have left the door to this build space open when I left, but I was in a hurry to leave. The reason we were gone yesterday evening was to go to the soccer game that I talked about yesterday on stream, Orlando City playing in the US Open Cup, and happily, that game ended, went to extra time and a penalty shootout, but it did end with an Orlando City win, which I was hopeful for, but not expecting. So that was super exciting and fun to be part of. Stadium went nuts. And the team is on to the semifinals of the US Open Cup, which I don't think that game happens for about a month, so like sometime near the end of July. and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be out of town during that week, so probably won't get to go to that game in person. But if they win that one, then the final will also be in Orlando. They do a random draw to decide who hosts each round of games, and they've already done the draw all the way through the final. And so we already know that if Orlando City keeps winning games, they will keep hosting all the way to the final. So I hope they win that one that I can't go to, because if they do, there's the possibility that we could see them win the trophy in their home stadium, which would be cool. All right, so this looks fairly simple, right? We sandwich these together. There's a big seam line across the top, but they've hidden it as a panel line, so it kind of offsets and then does that, which is nice. So it doesn't look unsightly at all. It looks like it's part of the design. And then this goes in here. So there will be a little bit of a sliding mechanism with this. It's not a huge range of motion, but a little bit. And then, as has been the case with all of the weapons, it has a little reflective, sort of reflective clear part there for the camera. And the instructions do have you put a foil sticker behind that so that it will shine more if you choose to do so. Right, so this weapon is quite long. I thought it would be able to extend a little bit, but it looks like maybe not. Or that's just a very tight joint. We'll see what happens at the end of the build. So anyway, here, well, we'll finish building it and then I'll stand it next to the Gundam, but it looks like it standing on end will be almost as tall as the mobile suit itself. Let's put the magazine on the back. Here are those parts. Nice detail molded into these particular parts. They molded it so that there's one round of ammunition, sort of rocket giant bullet sort of thing, down here at the bottom of the magazine. I'll show you after we get these sandwiched together. Again, pretty nicely hidden seam line. So yeah, here's this piece of, I'll hold it up here. So there's the one piece of ammunition or bit of ammunition kind of showing up out there. It's going to get hidden when we plug it into the weapon itself. But if you wanted to, you could, you know, with paint, kind of pick that out and make it look more interesting if you were going to maybe pull this out just to show somebody, or, you know, have some sort of display maybe where it's resting on a weapons rack and you have it separated like that. All right, we have a couple of handles that go on the sides of it. And we will get this piece here, which is the front of the barrel as well. The excuse me, the headphones that I normally use, that the cat chewed through the wire of, I believe that it's like a special wire with a special connector. It's like a non-standard connector that connects into the side where the headphones are. So I'm gonna have to look around online and see if I can find a replacement for that headphone cable. So this has got handles on both sides that fold out to the sides. So folded out, they're like so, and they do have slots to attach into the hands. If you have, so this kit doesn't have the hands with the little fold out tab, but I guess you could use it with other kits that do. And those fold in like so, and then this just fits here. So there is our large bazooka. And as promised, here is the, I have to move this guy again, so I'm gonna have to stand him up, but yeah, standing next to the Gundam, it's almost up to its shoulder. Here, we'll stand it this way and you can see in that other camera, there it is. So yeah, almost up to the shoulder, about here. So nice, big, tall weapon. All right, please stand up. Nope. There we go, almost. Balance. All right. That's such a hassle. All right, we're gonna put these all up here. So we got all of our guns. And maybe moving on to swords? No, we actually have, yeah, I guess we'll do a couple swords first, and then the weird hammer mace sort of weapon. It's called the Gean hammer, but it looks like a mace to me. So Proto Gean sword. And this does have a part that's molded in this kind of silverish, but definitely still plastic. Like, it's not plated or anything like that. It's this silverish plastic. It's fairly typical. I've seen Bandai use it before, and it was the only part on this runner. So that runner has now been thrown on the floor in the pile of used runners. But yeah, if you wanted this sword to be real shiny and silvery, you definitely want to paint this part. It's different from, you know, it's a different shade, obviously, from the dark gray that's going to go on the outside of it, but it is not a shiny silver for sure. Let's do this side first. And that just sandwiches in. Nice and simple. And this one does have this part, at the very least. Yeah, it looks like there's going to be two more, actually, these two here, that are the dark red that match the armor bits on the mobile suit itself. And these will be part of this weapon. So I think we talked about a couple streams ago that I enjoy having some color from the mobile suit sort of extend onto the weapons, and often I do that if I'm custom painting something. I will add that sort of an effect myself, because a lot of weapons don't come with that idea as far as the way that they mold the plastic. But in this case, at least for this one weapon, it looks like they've done that, or they've taken that same approach of including actually quite a bit of the dark red from the kit here as part of the weapon itself. To be fair, it's not exactly the weapon itself. It's kind of that folding bit that sits down below that the shield can fold out of, or that the sword can fold out of. All right, so that just slides on there. We get the handle, snaps in like so, and can fold in and out. That one's tough to fold out. We'll use our toothpick for that if we need it later. All right, and then this way wants to go here. I thought there was a gap going to be there, but there's something on this part that fills it in, so that's good. Right, so there's our folded up G and sword, and it can fold out like so. And then it has a handle as well. We'll look at the different posing options, at least some of them, later on. It looks like this has the ability to attach onto something else as well. I'm not sure what yet. We'll see in a bit. All right, so there's another one. I'm gonna run out of workspace if we keep laying these weapons out around on the desk, but it's also fun to do it. So I'm gonna try to keep them all in shot as we go. All right, next is the G and hammer. And we're gonna need definitely these round parts here. Oh, and I didn't realize it. I guess I should have thought about this as I was looking at these runners earlier, but these clear green conical spiky parts that I've been wondering about the whole build every time I see them are actually the spikes on this mace weapon. So, hey, another finished runner goes in the pile. I did not realize, because the instructions are black and white, when I looked through them earlier before starting the build, I didn't realize that these bits were actually this clear green. It's going to be an interesting look. All right, and this one's finished now too. If you're trying to cut with god hands or other similar single-bladed nippers, sometimes the direction matters, right? So because the blunt side, the flat side of this nipper is a little bit wider, if I go this way, I'm actually in danger of either leaving a bit of nub behind or cutting out a little bit of that edge. So if I turn it around this way, I find that it works much better. Sometimes as you're kind of placing it in the gap, if you're trying to get very close so that you have a nice flush cut, you can sort of see how it's going to fit, and decide to spin the part around and do it the other way if it looks like that's going to work out better. So that's just something to keep in mind while you're trimming things. In this case, I'm going to trim this one sideways like that, just because it was easier to reach into that space that way. So yeah, I don't always articulate that as we're building, and probably don't need to, but I am always thinking about the direction that I'm cutting when I'm trying to trim these nubs very close. I think the big thing to keep in mind is just not to trim off too much, because you can always, if you leave a little bit, you can always go back and sand it, and I always do anyway, just to get it perfectly smooth. But if you cut off too much, then you've got to fill it with putty or super glue or something, and that's always a hassle. So it's better to err on the side of trimming too little rather than trimming too much. I'm thinking it's probably a good thing that on the day I had to start the stream a little bit late because of the technical difficulties, that all we have to build are weapons. That was going to be the plan today anyway, is just to build the weapons, because I do still have to stop at my normal stop time, and we're likely to run out of time if I were to try to build something, you know, very involved. I believe that these weapons we can get done before it's time to stop. So these just all slot in like so. So they're not only, these parts are not only providing the spikes that are sticking out the sides of this thing, but on the back side, they show through, so you get these 4 little clear green circles as well. And then this, I do not believe it has a specific direction that it has to go. Doesn't look like it. No. So that can just go on any way. And then this plugs in like so. I'm going to plug that in very loosely so that I'm going to be able, so that I'll be able to pull it out better in the future. It actually does press down in there a little further. But I want to be careful about allowing myself the ability to pull that out later. So I'm not going to push it all the way in. All right, so there's a handle for this. That little piece slides on the front here. It's kind of a tight fit. Yeah, it snaps in. So in the future, when I disassemble this for painting, I will probably forget that that was a separate piece, because it's the same color and it really just looks like it could have been part of this mold. So And that's fine because you're going to paint the whole thing, probably clip right here with a alligator clip to paint it because that's not going to be seen. So painting this all as one thing without taking that off is totally fine. I suppose that when I go back to disassemble for painting, I could like refer back to the instructions to see that I got all the parts, you know, separated. But I don't really see that as being necessary. I just need to disassemble enough to, you know, have the parts separated enough to do the paint application that I have in mind. All right, so here is the handle, and this goes just in here. It's kind of offset in a strange way, but that is they call it the GN hammer. I think it's more like a mace. But yeah, there we go. We'll drop that one right in there. Do we have space up there? No, we don't. So we'll put it right there. And we have beam pistols next, I guess. These look like the ones that come with the Master Grade Dynamis. However, this part is on one of the new runners. So this half of the pistol, maybe we could, I don't think we'll have time. We had time, we could get my Dynamis out of the display case behind me and compare the pistols. But it looks to me like they're the same as what I remember, so I'm not sure why this part is on a new runner. The rest of the parts are here. And here. Which are the original Master Grade Dynamis weapons runners. I know for sure because I remember from having built the kit. Yeah, so I don't know why they give you this part, which was molded on a new runner, as opposed to just having you, oh, I see. So this one did not have the tab slot for the hand. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. Yeah, so they've just added that to make it easier to hold it in the hand, I guess. So that's the difference. Mystery solved. Yeah, otherwise it looks like it's going to be exactly the same as the original one from Dynamis. So the little magazine for it is here and is the same as that other kit. There are the parts here on this H runner and that G runner we were just looking at to make the like the hip mounted holders for the two pistols as well. I don't know if these instructions are going to have us build those or not, but you could definitely build them. I believe all the parts are here for those. A little while ago I said this runner was done, and I was wrong. There's this one little tiny part left that I had noted before as being extremely small, but had forgotten was there. So there's that. It is the camera part for this pistol, which weirdly sits in the front of the magazine. So that snaps on here. I guess that makes sense because then it's on the front of the weapon. Like so. So I guess the lesson learned for today is check everything, including simple things like whether your headphone wire is not chewed through by a cat before starting the stream. I'll have to remember that in the future. Yeah, so it's funny to me to look at this pistol because I know my painted ones have so much more color separation than this. So it looks quite plain, but it is definitely the same, exactly the same, except for that it has the little slot here in the handle to be able to fit into the palm of the hand better. All right, we'll drop this one right there. And I will turn the page of my instructions, and they will probably have us build the opposite side, or the opposite pistol, which is not exactly the same because of that slot in the handle. Right, so yeah, looking ahead at the instructions, they actually do not have you build the hip-mounted holders for these things, but these two parts here and these big dark gray ones here, I think are all you need to build those things. So you could build them. I never did get the second of these H runners. So again, because this is a Master Grade Dynamis runner, these parts were the little detail parts that stick out from various places in his big shield backpack, unit thing. So those will definitely not be used here. And here's our other half of the pistol with the slot in the handle. What is my favorite Master Grade? So that's a tough question because my favorite one, if you mean by how the build worked, like how easy the build was or how nicely engineered it was, I think that the Master Grade Virtue that just recently came out is great. It was a super fun build, big and lots of parts, and everything was engineered and fit together really well. So I enjoyed that one, and also I'm just a fan of 00 in general, so that was cool. My favorite master grade that I own, as far as kits that I've painted up and detailed and stuff, is actually the Victory 2, which is not a great kit to build necessarily. The Verka V2. The expansion came with some new parts that help with some of the issues that it had with its shoulders not fitting well and some things like that. So that helps. But yeah, for me, in my display case, that's my favorite, just because I spent a lot of time on it and it was fun. Actually, I can show you. I can't grab it out of the case, but I can show you over here. I do have a picture of it, or some pictures of it, on Gunpla Gallery. So this one here, yeah, is my favorite one. Just as far as being on display in my display case, this is the one. Yeah. What about you? Do you have a favorite master grade kit? And you can answer that while I rummage around on the floor for a runner that I dropped. All right, so here is the dropped runner. Yeah, that makes sense. MGs are definitely a bigger project. You have to commit more time. For me, because I normally build master grade kits, and I've just gotten used to that. If I do build a high grade kit, it seems very like small, and I get the runners out of the box and it's just like, oh, that's all. That's not to say that high grade kits aren't great. Some of the more recent ones especially are really, really good. But yeah, for me, they seem a little small, and they seem like they don't have very many parts. Oh, nice. So I have the Tallgeese Flugel in my backlog, and I have not built that one yet. Probably will at some point, maybe here on stream. We'll see. I've built one of the original master grade Tallgeese kits, and I've also built the Wing Verka. So the Tallgeese Flugel is sort of a combination of a lot of parts from those. So it won't be anything new necessarily for me, but I do really like the look of it. All right, so 2 pistols done. As I said, I think you could build the pistol holders, but the instructions aren't asking us to, so we're gonna not do that. Instead, we are doing the Gean missile pods next, which look like they just came from Master Grade Curios. I don't think they're any different at all. Favorite high grade. I have not built a lot of high grades, as I said. The favorite one that I've built is probably the Moon Gundam. I like the high grade Moon quite a bit. I don't have that one anymore. I actually built it, painted it up, and somebody bought it off my Etsy store, so I sold that one. But yeah, I think that was my favorite of the high grade builds. Strangely, it looks like they're only having us build one of these missile pods. So whereas Curios came with 2, it looks like this guy just comes with 1. And that's totally fine because he has so many other weapons already anyway. All right, dropping runners, perfect. Let me see what else we need. Right, this here is the other part. Yeah, so again, instead of using the handle that would normally have come with this, it looks like they've molded us a new one. And probably the only difference is going to be that they put the little slot in it so that it would fit with this type of hand. Yeah, so here's that handle. Instead of cutting the slot all the way through, they made it part of kind of the detail in the handle, which is nice. So it doesn't really stand out quite so much, but it's still there so that it can lock into place in the hand. And I think that is all the parts for this. Those two ends are different, which is why I put the one down and grabbed the other one. This one has a couple little slots in it that fit into there. There's actually a tiny bit of flash on that piece. That's weird because you almost never see that with Bandai's molds, but I'm gonna use just this toothpick to smooth that out real quick so that this fits down nicer. Yeah, that's not bad. Cool. And this is the handle. It just slides together like so, and then just presses in place here. It doesn't really attach. It just kind of holds in place with friction, and that's fine. It feels tight enough that it's not going to come out. So yeah, only handheld mode, it looks like, for this GN missile launcher. The Curios version the handle can come off and it can mount on the side or on a few different points around the kit, but this one it looks like is only meant to be used in handheld mode. I'm running out of space in frame. Let's put it over here. And we do only get the one of those. All right, is that... I was about to say that's the end of weapons and on to shields, but that's not really true because there's more GN sword, GN long blade, short blade. All of the standard Exia weapons are still coming up later, but first is the shield. And this shield is different from any of the other 00 kit's shields. At least a little bit different. We'd have to get those out and look at them to see exactly how different, but I know that it looks like it's calling for parts that are all on new runners that came with this kit. So to me that indicates probably that it's a different looking shield than we've seen before, although it's definitely in the same style. Starting to get lazy. Instead of putting the runners back in the box over here in sorted in alphabetical order like I usually keep them, I've just been dropping the ones that I think I'm going to use again right here in a pile directly to my left on the desk here. And so I foresee a time in the near future where I'm not going to be able to find a runner because I can't remember if it's in the box or in this other pile. We need this one more big part for the center front of the shield. And this runner is done, so it can go in the pile on the floor. So these just snap in the sides, and then that long piece snaps across the front here.
It's gonna be hard to do. It doesn't matter. Because what happens is
My background music had people talking. That was interesting and weird. Yeah, so this does have a sliding out, like separating gimmick, which actually the exposed gray part from the inside there looks really nice. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but there's like decent detail on it and stuff, so that's cool. Let's snap it back together for now. And then this is just the part that mounts onto the back of the arm, or the front of the arm. Yeah, looks like the front of the arm actually. So it goes like so. But we can't leave it there because it needs to go, for now, in this stack of things. All right, there we go. Bear with me while I skip this track because the random talking in the background is distracting. All right, on to what? The GN sword, which looks like it comes straight from the Astraea runners. All right, I think that's all we need off that runner. Then we're gonna need, let's see, this part here. This is kind of gonna be kind of weird, I think, looking ahead. Like these triangular parts here are the ones that go on the outsides of the long and short blades that came with Exia as well. With Exia, those are white, which kind of looks good on those swords. But because of the color swap here, these are going to be this red color. So I'm not sure that I'm going to like the look of those in red. We'll see. Yeah, I predicted this was going to happen. I need a J runner that I can't find because I let my sorting system get disorganized. So while I think about where that runner might be, I'll trim these nubs first. I'm pretty sure it has to be in the box, not on the stack to my left. But I did not see it in the box. So if it is there, it got somehow placed out of order. It's only like 11:15 in the morning here, but I can already tell it's going to be a very warm day. Here in my build room, it's getting quite hot already. All right, so we can put these parts together, and then I'm gonna have to find that runner that I'm not sure where it is before we can continue. Right, because these are fine. This is the handle, but then it needs a couple parts from that J runner to finish it out. Found it. This is again that sort of molded silver plastic. It's not plated. It's silver-ish, not super shiny. All right, I'm gonna put that right over here because I know I'm gonna need it again soon. So this part slides in through the handle and then adds this nice little sort of detail part kind of in the opening of the handle. And then this fits over the top. And then we need, I think, these two, 14, 15 off of the H runner. Yeah. These older molds, like this one, because it came from the original Exia, have like super wide gates compared to how they do now, because I know that plastic technology's changed. And that certainly helps, but that makes me sad to have to trim those wider gates. They definitely leave more of a mark behind, more cleanup in the future before painting for sure. All right, and we do have one polycap in this Gian sword. Let's do it this way. So that inserts through there, and I did not yet get the piece that we need to cover the front of this. Now is when we need this J runner again for the blade. So there's that blade. And I am missing one more part. This bit that goes on along the top of it. And then probably I'm missing a couple of handle parts as well. So let's just go get those right now. They're these, right? Yeah. And this one. And now, since the only thing left on this runner is the action-based connector, I'm going to go ahead and just cut that off and set it off to the side, so that way I can throw this runner in the finished runners pile. I'll just trim this and throw it back in the box with the spare parts. All right. Yeah, here's a couple of these very large gates again. Seems like they're much larger than they need to be for this size of a part. Alright, so now we should be able to finish this up. We drop this on here. I didn't trim this. Let's trim this first. This part, because they molded it all as one part with this hollow bit inside, does have a mold line right down the middle of the top of it. So that's something that will require some sanding for cleanup in the future. I guess we should put this on there. That would make sense. There we go. And then here is our bit that attaches onto the arm. Yeah, so there we go. It's just a color swapped version of XESG and Sword. Yeah, I actually like it in this color scheme as opposed to the blue and white. It's pretty cool. Yeah, nice. Okay. A couple of these blades, I guess. I'm just gonna build the two. There's a long blade and a short blade. I'm gonna build them simultaneously here instead of one at a time, just because a lot of the parts are gonna come from the same runners, and we might as well cut those parts while we have those runners out. So as we saw a little while ago, these are the bits that go on the outside of those blades. Two different sizes. And then, let's see, we'll need handles, and these are part of the handles. Does not everyone pronounce those H's? I don't think a lot about how I say words, but okay. Now I'm going to have to start listening to myself talk. We get the back piece here of Exia's original shield, larger shield. I don't think we get the rest of the shield though, so we can't build that. Must be tired today because I'm just sitting here trimming parts in silence. Normally I try to find something to talk about, but I am a little more tired than usual today for sure. Okay. Let us build these blades. Looks okay in red, I guess. Wish list Gundam kit. Do you mean one that doesn't exist yet? Because I have a definite answer. Or if you mean one that does exist that I don't have yet, I'll have to think about it. Yeah, so one that doesn't exist, I want so badly a master grade Atlas Gundam. I assume it would be a Verka because they've built or they've made, you know, the Verka versions of other mobile suits from the Thunderbolt series. So yeah, I would love an Atlas. That is my definite answer, and will continue to be until they make one. All right, 2 blades, short, long. Are we done yet? Oh no, we do get to build the bigger Giant shield that came from Exia. I didn't think we had all the parts for that, but okay. It is true. I think that some of my preferences when it comes to Gundam, both the kits and the anime series as well, probably tend to go against what most people would find to be their favorite or is popular. I like 00 a lot, and I think that a lot of people don't. And I like Thunderbolt a lot as well. I actually have the entire manga collection of Thunderbolt, at least the part that's been translated in English so far, over on my shelf. They do have a lot of backpacks, don't they? Backpacks with arms holding lots of things. So I should ask the question back to you guys that are watching. What is your master grade kit that has not yet been made that you would like to see? Because, you know, there is one that's been teased but not announced yet. So maybe one of us will get the kit that we've been asking for. All right, well, that one seems unlikely. So Nether Gundam as a MGEX is what you're saying. I get it. All right, so there's our separating shield gimmick. I kept calling this larger, and actually now that I look at it, it's about the same size. I guess it's a little bit taller. Yeah. Reborn, huh? That's an interesting choice. Could be cool as well. All right, so there's our attach point for that shield. Are we done yet? I'm turning the page. Oh, before I do that, should point out that there's this other piece here. So this shield it looks like has a slightly different attach point. Yeah, depending on whether you've built the Type F or the Type F2 version of the Astraea, just because the way that it connects into the forearm has to change just a little bit to fit better. So that extra piece is here as well. And actually, yeah, we've done it the correct way given the arms that I built. So that piece will be extra. All right, now turning the page. And besides beam sabers, I believe that is the entire weapons loadout. Wish list for an existing kit. That's a master grade kit. Now you're making me think a little. I think that, so it would have to be a P-Bandai release that I missed, that hasn't been reprinted so that I could buy it later. I had wanted to buy the Master Grade Blast Impulse Gundam when that one was a P-Bandai release a year and a half maybe ago. And I didn't buy it then, and they haven't reprinted that one yet. So maybe that. That's the first answer that I have off the top of my head. What about for you? So here's instructions. There aren't very many gimmicks with these weapons. Maybe the most interesting one is that you can pull, here, maybe we'll show it. You can pull one of these angled fins off the side of the shoulder here. And I don't really want to necessarily do that because it's a bit fiddly. We can get it off. Here we go. Come on. I don't really want to take the arm off to make this happen, so let's see if I can carefully get this to come out. There we go. All right, so with that piece out, you can grab the bazooka here, and it actually slots in to the shoulder up here. So it's attached in place, and then you can rotate it. And it almost looks like he's looking sort of down the sight of the bazooka. You'd have to kind of adjust the angle of things, and then you could reach the hand up there and grab the handle and such. So that's interesting, and actually probably helps him to actually be able to hold this thing up because it's super heavy. And I bet he would fall over, or his arm would droop if you tried to do that without attaching it to the shoulder. So that's interesting. Other than that, there's not a lot going on that I see in the instructions with these weapons. You know, the swords fold out as you would expect with Exia swords. They can mount on the hips. The two smaller GN blade, short and long blades, can mount on the hips as they can with Exia. Let's put this part back before I lose it. This hammer part can also mount on the side of the hip if you want to. So yeah, it would be, I think, impossible to put all of the weapon loadout on this guy all at once. Yeah, I'm going to say that's impossible. There aren't enough hard points to mount everything around. But there it all is. So yeah, a lot of plastic in the box for sure. And a lot of extra parts. Most of them don't look super useful necessarily. I mean, there's the sides of Exia's head, the V-fin, some things like that on this runner. And then similarly, a lot of Exia outer armor parts that would have been in the blue color on Exia. So the back of the chest and shoulders and things like that. There's some inner frame bits for shoulders as well. Yeah, so you might actually be able to build Exia's original shoulders. Actually, it looks like you can, looking over at the box of spare parts that I have. So if you want an extra pair of Exia shoulders, there you go. I think that's it. And like I said earlier, every time I stand him up, I have to adjust the feet to make sure that he's not going to fall forward just because the ankles are so loose. So probably, especially if he's going to be holding some of these weapons, it would be smart to put this thing up on an action base, because I don't know that the ankles are going to hold the weight of the kit itself with a bunch of weapons in its hands. So that's your prediction for 2023? Speaking of the avalanche unit, I do have that here in the box. And I've just opened the box. I haven't gotten the runners out or anything yet. But next 1 or 2 streams, depending on how long it takes, we'll go ahead and build this as well, just so that we can see it all together. So that'll be the plan for probably next week, since it's already Thursday and I probably won't have time to do any streaming tomorrow. I realized I wore this reddish shirt. Perfect, right? Because now there's not a good backdrop to see this guy in the front camera there. All right, looks good. I don't know when I finally pose this kit which of these weapons I will use. I do like this bazooka. Yeah, we'll see. Probably not the reused ones, this missile pod that came from Kyrios, or these, although I do love a Gundam holding dual wielding pistol type weapons. It's a good look, I think, but probably not for this one. So I'll have to play around with different combinations of weapons to decide how I want to display this thing when I finally finish it. Yeah, I'll leave that for my future self to think about. Yep, sounds good. All right, so I have to go. I will try to figure out how to fix my headphones that I had the problem with earlier. I will go yell at the cat that probably chewed through the wire that broke the headphones, and then move on with the rest of my day. But yeah, I'll be back next week with the avalanche unit for this guy for sure. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day as well. And I'll see you next time.